scrambles to the left side, keeps the play alive. Now throws it across his body.
Kansas City has won their first Super Bowl in 50 years. Oh, Derek Thomas whacking the quarterback. He's running to the near side, cocks his arm, throws a pass on the fly in the end zone. Touchdown!
Intercepted Mark McMillan. 10, 5, touchdown, Mighty Mouse. Left side has a hold. Angles left, 10, 5, touchdown, Kansas City.
Welcome to the 65 Toss Power Talk Show. I am Shaggy Shane Williams with my co-anchor, my right-hand man when he's not on my left, Lance Twidwell of The Spoken. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Kansas City Chiefs freaks worldwide of all ages, our guest this evening is none other than your Super Bowl champion, former Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver out of Kansas State. You know him, you love him. Number 13 on your programs, number 1 in your heart. My friend, your friend, our friend. Ladies and gentlemen, Chiefs Kingdom, give it up for Byron Pringle. How's it going, Byron?
Everything going good, Shaggy, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's great to have you on our show. How you doing? How's life treating you down there in Florida?
Man, life good, man. Just out here enjoying the outdoors, man. You know, my favorite thing I love to do is fish, man. Saltwater only though. I'm not really a freshwater guy. I like to fight. I like to fight on that saltwater.
So you get down there and you get in the Gulf. You ain't afraid to throw in the. You ain't afraid to throw in that fishing pole when the tide is high, are you?
No, I was in the high tide this morning, man, out there in the flats, in the mangroves, man. Light tackle, tight lines. That's how I go down here. Light tackle, tight lines.
Heck yeah. Hey, Byron, we're going to talk about a lot of things. Your time with the Chiefs, how you came on you were undrafted. Let's get right to it. You were undrafted, walk on to the Chiefs. You made the team in 2018. Like I said, you were undrafted, and you had a great chance of making the team in 2018. You had a great training camp, and in the final preseason game, you sustained, was it a hamstring injury?
Yes, sir.
And you were – go ahead.
In a sports hernia.
In a sports hernia, which was a shame because, you know, we cheer the underdogs. It's easy to get on here and cheer Sammy Watkins, who was an awesome receiver, and everybody else that you were alongside of with the Chiefs. But as a rookie, you had a sports hernia and a hamstring injury. You sustained the final preseason game, and you were put on injured reserve your rookie season of 2018. My question to you is, when you set out your rookie season, do you feel like you benefited from sitting out and learning the offense? Because a lot of times the Kansas City Chiefs offense, they say in Andy Reid's Chiefs offense with Patrick Mahomes, it's hard for a rookie to grasp the entire offense. So granted, Tyreek Hill had some plays his rookie season in 2016, and McCole Hardman had some plays his rookie season in 2019. But do you feel you benefited from sitting out 2018?
Yes, sir. From sitting in the meeting rooms, just taking notes and listen to the coaching points. It was very big 2018 going into 2019 because I was able to play faster and I wasn't thinking as much, which is coming in as a rookie and coming from like a college program where your playbook ain't really that advanced. When you get in NFL, especially in Kansas City, the playbook is pretty decent. They have a nice size to it, and you got to be able to understand everybody's role, not just your only role. Because once you understand everybody else's role, you be able to play faster and be able to execute. So I think that was very big for me to sit out and be in the meeting rooms and go to therapy, and then after therapy, go in the meeting rooms and take notes and go back and study. Even though I wasn't playing, it was like I was playing because I go back and study. If coach giving the coaching point to Sammy Watkins, to Tyreek, to DeMarcus Robinson or Marcus Kemp. It doesn't matter from like the special team standpoint. If Marcus Kemp getting coached on something, I was able to pick up things and be able to know that I don't want to do that when my jersey number get called. So that was a big thing for me. That was my game plan for myself, to be able to learn from them guys, the good and the bad. And whenever my number get called to be out on the field, I need to just execute at a high level.
Byron, as we said before the show started, I want to say it again, man. We really do appreciate you taking this time, dude, because I know you got a life to live and you're out there fishing. And trust me, I don't want to get in the way of another grown man fishing because I love it myself.
Oh no, we all good.
Yeah, so you look, man. These are some questions that honestly I've been wanting to ask you in particular for a while now. If I was ever going to get the opportunity to speak to you directly about these types of situations, because you have a very unique story. Not a lot of players, in my opinion, or from what I've seen in my experience of watching football for the last 30 plus years, not a lot of guys, walk into the league in their mid 20s and have the opportunities that you ended up getting. What do I mean of that is a lot of guys have to come in here and become grown men. In this league, they have to cut their teeth both as a professional and as a young adolescent, not an adolescent, but a young man to become a grown man. You were already 25. I believe you were 25 years old when you came into the league, and then you were 26 when you were 26 when you really got an opportunity to play in this offense. And that's where I want to kind of piggyback off of what Shaggy asked you, because the big thing I always focus on when it comes to adding young receiving options, rookies, running backs, tight ends, all of those guys in the Andy Reid offense, I always tend to give those guys such a break, because I know from everything I've heard and I've understood and I've studied from this Andy Reid offense is it's such an eccentric offense. It's such a particular offense. It's a demanding offense, and that's why oftentimes guys don't accelerate year one as young players. But again, you came in here as a grown man. I want to get your perspective on that when it comes to the Andy Reid offense as a man in his mid-20s walking into this system. What was that experience like for you from the get-go, and how much did you feel that you evolved as those years went on with you being under Andy Reid's tutelage?
Man, I feel like every year I grew. Every day I grew. Like, I went in to learn. My mentality was, if I'm not learning at least one thing a day, then I wasn't in there for the right reason. I was in there for the wrong reason. And I would say as a grown adult, I'm gonna say a grown adult at 25, like, what's reality is. If you don't make this play, you don't take advantage of this play, your opportunity may not be here no more. And for a young dude, they may think they got like more opportunity and more chances and stuff, when in reality the opportunity is slim, more than they think of, more than they know. And I feel like a lot of them may get like a sidetrack, like off the field, or the outside noise, or to the social media and stuff like that. When you got to put all that to the side, and just grind and listen. You know what I mean? And another thing, them guys in that locker room, they together, they as one, so they gonna help you. It's not like nobody don't want to help you. Like in the Reed locker room, everybody together. We're trying to win, and that's the goal. And that's what I think that was big coming in. Like, nobody never hold no secrets, And I learned from Tyreek. I learned from DeMarcus Robinson. I learned from Garrett Dieter. I learned from Marcus Kemp. And you know what I mean? They wanted to see me even evolve. They wanted to even see me play. Even though we all fight for the same job, they was all willing to help and make sure that we go out there and execute every play like a professional should. And I think that's the standard. And I feel like young guys just got to understand that's just the standard, and know that them guys willing to help you. Any veteran or any guy that been there a year before them, they willing to help them. So they just got to take full advantage of that. And I feel like some people may not, if they, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they don't excel, that's the reason why, because I feel like they not willing to listen to their peers, because they probably think their peers trying to exit them out the game, which in reality, in that locker room, they trying to help you. They trying to win. You know what I mean? And the coach is willing to help you as well. Like, the assistant coach is willing to help you as well. You got to just talk to him. You know what I mean? And that's the thing I did. I talked to him. Hey, coach, can I come in for 15 minutes, 5 minutes? They all add up at the end of the week. That all add up, especially in the off season. As a rookie, you shouldn't even want to go home You know what I mean? You should want to put in more time and understand the game because the game is changed every year.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a difference between me and probably like other guys that I know or that I done played against that played on different clubs. Like that's the difference between me and them when they were like, "Hey Pringle, how was you able to do this?" And they was draft picks. They're like, "Man, you crazy." No, I wasn't crazy. I wanted to win. I wanted to be able to be on the field. When my number get called, I want to be able to execute that play. If they putting their trust in me for to be out there, that means everybody in the organization they believe that Pringle gonna get the job done. And I ain't want, and my biggest thing, I didn't want to let nobody down. It wasn't no pressure on my shoulder. I just didn't want to let nobody down. Not them, even not my kids, because my kids gonna let me know if I play sorry or not. Believe it or not, like they my biggest critics. They love me, but they was my biggest critics when I was playing in Kansas City. So that's the thing there. But I did learn a lot in Kansas City on the Coach Reed belt, like being able, like you gotta be able to understand everybody's position. Because if you don't know, then you may run the wrong route. Or you can know, like, hey man, if this dude got a corner route and I'm outside, hey, I might need to clear it out. Or I might need to run the post, or I might have to run a lock hitch. But you never wrong with just running a full go. You know what I mean? But as long as you're doing it with speed, you have to do it with speed. Just take off running and don't even look back. Little stuff like that.
Excellent, excellent. Hey, another thing about rookie wide receivers coming along, what we're told is they struggle with the speed of the practices. Andy Reid runs such a fast practice. He wants you to play at a speed. Was that something that was eye-opening to you? Just talk about practices and the reputation Andy Reid has. He wants every practice to be fast.
For me, it wasn't really no change of pace for me because I was thankful to play at Kansas State University, and we may probably ran the ball a lot, but we practice hard and we practice fast. So like the conditioning part wasn't hard for me because I in the off season I took time out and I always ran when I came home, especially being in the heat. I always ran with sweatsuits on. Even now I work out with sweatsuits on and down here in Florida. So it wasn't really no hard change of pace for me. But a lot of guys that was from different states, I don't know what their resume was of getting in shape or how they was coached in college. But in Kansas State, Bill Snyder don't care who you was, you working. They not cutting no reps. The probably in they college they probably was getting cut reps or held back from practices. And then Andy Reid know everybody work. Tyreek work, so everybody else is gonna work. Sammy Watkins work, so Pringle need to be working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably the biggest thing for them guys to know. Like you gotta go in there working, you gotta be ready. Because they gonna throw it. You best believe they're gonna throw it. And you better be ready. And the game was fast at first. I would say that, but that's because everybody know what to do and how to do. You can't be 1 centimeters off or you wrong. You know what I mean? In the NFL, in college you can get away with it. In high school you can get away with it, but in the pro you can't be off. You got to be on 24/7. Anytime you're on that field, you got to be on.
Yep. Byron, no matter what happens, for the rest of your life, you're going to be able to say that you were on a Super Bowl winning team, and not just a Super Bowl winning team, but a team that changed the entire history of a franchise. That 2019 Chiefs team was very special, and that's why I want to dive into this with you, man, because I'm so interested to get your perspective on a lot of these experiences you had, and in particular in a couple of seasons. And I'm going to get to another one later on after we ask a couple more questions, but I want to start there with 2019. You're getting your feet wet in the league, obviously, so you have all your own responsibilities that you just addressed and all the things that you have to take seriously. But was there a time early in that season where you felt like, because obviously you guys are coming off that AFC Championship game, it's a heartbreaking loss to the Patriots. It's at home. It feels like that's a team of destiny. And this time you're coming into 2019 knowing that you could be a legitimate contributor to this team to go on another big playoff run and potentially win a Super Bowl. Was there something maybe at training camp or OTAs or maybe at some point in the regular season where you guys all kind of looked around like, okay, we got this. Like, this is that season, man. We're going to make this shit happen. Like, what is that what happened in 2019? Or just give me just your overall view of how that season went for you guys from your perspective.
But I feel like that championship game versus the Patriots left a bad taste in everybody's mouth, and we just wanted to respond. Everybody went home, and we knew how it feels to not like make it past the championship game, and we knew it was there. We knew we could have beat them. So everybody went home in the off season, and everybody came back as one. Like everybody was in sync, everybody ready to go to war for each other, and just like I had the running back, the running back have my back, the lineman have Pat back, and Pat got all the receiver and everybody else back. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I just feel like everybody just came together as one and just was in sync. And we worked hard. And like we was grinding. And we didn't want to lose. Even through like that training camp in 2019. I remember. Like it was some dark days now. It was some tough days, but we was grinding one day at a time, one play at a time. And the only thing we can control is our attitude and effort. That's something that Coach EB said. He always preached it. You can control your attitude and effort, and that's what we did for sure. We controlled our attitude and effort, and we worked hard.
Yep.
And that was the main thing. Just everybody being in sync. And from I don't want to put no name on it, but from like little things like what caused that game versus the Patriots, that was the attitude and effort. You know what I mean? Like that's something that you can control.
I
You
like
know what I'm
that.
saying?
I like how you kept that very professional, but I know exactly what you're saying on that one, dude. That's
Yeah,
very true.
you can control that. You know what I mean? You know what's
Oh
going to happen
yeah.
before it happen, and that's the thing. Go back to Coach Andy Reid. Like you trust. The only thing I do is just listen to what he's saying or the coach is saying, and you'll be able to understand and everything before it happened,
Yep.
and you'll be prepared. Like that's how I was able to make plays because I knew, and I used to be watching. Like, oh yeah, I see it. And then I'm
Mhm.
like, man, coach is right. Man, Coach Reed is a genius. So that's type of thing that helped me play fast and just by listening, man, that 2018 season, just watching, take notes. Oh, I know I got to be my right depth because I'm the last read in the in on the in the on the play. Like little stuff like that. Or I'm the first read, or I need to clear it out. Or I need to bulldoze this dude out my way so Kelsey can run a route from behind me. You know what I mean? Little stuff like that.
Right. Byron, in 2018, well, me and Lance, we first started doing our shows together like 9 years ago. We did our mock draft show about the Chiefs. We said before the Chiefs drafted Patrick Mahomes, I just had that feeling the Chiefs got to get Patrick Mahomes out of Texas Tech. The kid's special. He's a young, raw gunslinger that I feel like if he sits behind Alex Smith for a year, he'll be ready to succeed when Alex Smith is able to get out of his contract, yada, yada. Long story short, when you were on the injury reserve in 2018, how long did it take for you to figure out that Patrick Mahomes is special and he's about to be the GOAT?
Man, you know what's so crazy? When I was playing at Kansas State and we was playing Texas Tech because I just had transferred in from junior college. And like, yeah, man, this man's supposed to be a first round draft pick, the quarterback. And when we played him, he threw for like 600 yards. That's when I realized he was the GOAT. Then I didn't even have to wait till I got to the NFL to see what he's doing now. Like once I realized that, because I didn't know, and then they were like, "Man, he's supposed to be a first round draft pick." But we ended up playing him in Manhattan, and we ended up winning the game. But he still threw for 600 yards. And that's when I realized, man, he gonna be special, and that's something you can't take away from somebody. Like numbers don't lie.
Well,
Right.
I'm glad you said that because I have another question in regards to that 2019 run, because as we both know, as all three of us know here, that run looked like it was going to be over pretty quick. Because if we remember that Texans game, it was down 24 to nothing to start that one off, and it looked like the Chiefs' season of destiny was going to be a season of more heartbreak. And then it went in the complete opposite direction when the Chiefs go on a 51-7 run. Byron, as a fan, I to this day think that's my favorite Chiefs game ever. I've seen hundreds of Chiefs games in my life, and that is still to this day and will probably be for the rest of my life my favorite game of my entire life as a Chiefs fan. But I need your perspective as a player when you guys are down 24-0. And it looks like, oh my God, we're about to get sent home packing in front of our fans this early in the postseason when we're supposed to be going for Super Bowls. I mean, and then it just turns on its head, and that offense, your guys' offense, just becomes unstoppable. The defense locks down to Deshaun Watson and the guys. I mean, give me your thoughts on what was it like in real time, man, from the sidelines as a player, how unreal and surreal that moment was for you guys.
Man, to me, that's go back to what I was saying about the belief and
Yeah.
training camp in 2019. Like the attitude, control the attitude and the effort, like stuff like Coach Eric Bieniemy was preaching. And the game situations like that we practice in training camp. Like it was hard. Like I said, we had some dark days. Them type of situation that we was prepared for. We knew we needed to come back and score. We knew we couldn't settle for no field goal. We knew we needed to stop them on defense. So we understood that. And that when that came, when everybody, all that hard work we put in the off season, and then in the training camp, and like in OTAs and then in training camp, it all came together as in real time. And we knew once we got the rolling, nobody couldn't stop us. Like you say, when you thought Patrick Mahomes was gonna be great, I knew he was gonna be great. Once I was seeing him throw the ball past safeties and the safeties be lining up 30 deep and Tyreek just running past him. He just out throwing everybody and Tyreek run up under it. So like that type of stuff like that, I knew we can get the ball into the playmaker's hands and we'll change the whole dynamic of any game at any moment. And that's what we used to do. We used to score a lot. Like everybody was together.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that Texas game, that showed like a lot of
Yeah.
integrity and determination and hard work and a group of guys come together as one. You know what I mean? And we didn't shake, we didn't fumble. You know what I mean? We didn't let down nothing. We didn't take nothing from granted when we knew our back against the wall. And when we wasn't even breathing hard or nothing. Nobody wasn't even out of breath. Like that was the type of moments that we was prepared for in training camp. Everything we did in training camp, that was the moment just to pay it. That was the payday just to show it to the world.
Yeah.
Like what the Chief Kingdom done, what the coaches preached to us, or what we had to go through in training camp. That I'm gonna always go back to the training camp because everybody probably think it was luck or something like. Nah, it wasn't luck. It was hard work. It was determination. It was long nights. And it was study, like it's like for real. It was everybody being in sync, everybody playing for one another, not just for themselves. You know what I mean? And that's big in the NFL. Once everybody playing for one thing, and that's to get that trophy, you can't stop it. Especially coming up on the Chiefs. You know what I mean? It's hard to stop that.
Right.
At that moment, it's hard to stop it because they was already consecutive going back to playoffs back to back years before we even got there. You
Yep.
know, so once they was able to put it all together, hey, we ain't stopping in the playoffs now. We going past the playoffs at this moment, and that what it was, man. And that what it was, man.
Uh, how important is it for young receivers when they join this? To get back to that, what I talked about at the beginning of the show, how important is it for young receivers to learn all three wide receiver positions? You know, did you use that time when you were on an injured reserve your rookie season to learn all three wide receiver positions, Byron?
Yeah, yes, sir. I use that time tremendously. Like that was the best time to me. I had to take advantage of that opportunity. Like, hey man, you better make it to every meeting, and you better not be late. You better be the first one, and that comes from like the Bill Snyder rule. Bill Snyder had a rule where if the meeting started at 8, you need to be there at 7:45.
Mm.
But like I can get in the meeting early, and I can go over plays with the receiver coach as we waiting for everybody to come in the room, or what we finna install for the week. I can go in early in the morning and just take notes. Just take notes. Hey, can I walk through it? Like walk through it. You know what I mean? We can go to the field and line up. Like that's the type of thing that you're gonna have to do if you playing in the Kansas City Chiefs. You got to put in the time. Ain't no time to chill. Ain't no time to be no time in the cold tub. You need to be on that field. No time in the training room. I mean, it ain't no time to be in the training room.
Byron, we talk about these highs of winning the Super Bowl in 2019 and getting back there in 2020. Now we know with the offensive line being depleted in 2020 and the Buccaneers having that insane front seven, that kind of wrote itself. I think that there was just a lot of things to overcome for you guys, and I totally understand that's how that happened. But then in 2021, the Chiefs you guys made this resilient comeback. You guys are hosting the AFC Championship. You're playing against the Bengals, and you guys are just doing whatever the hell you want, whenever the hell you guys want in that playoff run. I remember against the Steelers, which, by the way, you absolutely cooked in that game, which is one that I want to bring up the highlights of your playoff career when, scoring 3 touchdowns in that playoff run. I'm sure the things were, everything just looked like it was another season of destiny for the Chiefs. You guys are going to win another Super Bowl. That AFC Championship happens against the Bengals. You guys are up 21-3 at half. The ending of the half, it's really weird, with the whole Tyreek Hill the quick pattern outside, where he, try to get him to get the touchdown right before the half's over. Look, man, I know you're not going to obviously call anybody out in particular, and that's not what I'm trying to ask you, but obviously something happened because it's 21-3 at half. Like I said, you're feeling good about your guys' self. You should win this game by the way the offense is fluid, defense is playing well, and everything just seems to go wrong in the second half, and we all know how the game ends. Just from your perspective in that game, because I know you give us perspective on these previous highs, this was obviously a massive low because no one expected that type of meltdown to take place because, like I said, the Chiefs were the team that seemed to be a team of destiny. What in your opinion, happened in that second half that caused that to take place and the game to end the way it did?
I feel like that game, I feel like we got complacent with ourselves. I feel like from being a player, like we know we done been to all these championship games, we done been in the playoffs games before. We know we had that name, like the Chiefs is the team that's hard to beat. You know what I mean? You got to go through Arrowhead, you got to go through Patrick Mahomes, you got to go through Andy Reid. You know what I mean? You got to go through Spaz. So that was a thing to me. I feel like we hadn't got complacent, and then once they started making their plays. And they came to play. They came to play. They came to play 4 quarters strong. We didn't put 4 quarters together. We want to just put 2 half. I mean, we just put a half together. And they put all 4 together. In reality, that's why they came out on top, if you ask me.
Right. I remember that final drive before overtime, you were open in the back of the end zone, and Patrick Mahomes was running around back and lost like 22 yards taking a sack.
Yeah.
I said Byron. First Kelsey was open and then Byron's open, but
yeah. It's hard. It's hard to see things playing that quarterback position. But at the same time, things happen,
Yeah.
But man. Only if he had a little more time to probably plant his feet and had a little more time just to sit in the pocket longer, we probably been going to another Super Bowl. But things happen. Well, that's how the game goes.
Yeah, well, Byron, you are a Super Bowl champion. I hope you wear that Super Bowl ring with pride.
Yes, sir. I always do. I always do.
I ran into your niece at the airport a couple years ago. I sent you that message, that picture we took together.
Yeah.
She was as sweet as could be. I was walking my luggage out of Tampa because me and my wife go to Tampa once or twice a year. And she stopped me. She said, I used to be a Chiefs fan at one time, and I'm walking with my luggage with this lady who's walking with me. I said, really, what stopped you? She said, my cousin don't play there no more. I said, who is your cousin? She said, Byron Pringle. I said, let's take a picture right now. Come on. She took a picture with me. She was sweet as possible. She talked about your mom, and like I said, I'm sorry I can't remember her name, but I didn't want to be intrusive with her. But I thought she was as sweet as possible. Lance,
I have some great family members.
Yeah, indeed. You're a popular man in Tampa Bay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's my wife's hometown, and everybody knows Byron. Lance, is there anything you want to say to Byron in closing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, once again, Byron, it means the world to me, man, in particular, but obviously to Shaggy and both of us that you take the time in the middle of your week, dude, to come and hang out with us two jamokes. We love talking football, and who better to talk football with than a former player that's had the success you've had. And I guess more than anything, more than parting comments or compliments is, you know, the Chiefs are in a position right now where they have to rebuild from a team that had, let's just be real, a failure of a season in 2025. And one of the most notable spots on this roster, I think, where a lot of questions still reside, is at the wide receiver position, which is the biggest question I wanted to have for you tonight, man, was, there's a lot of questions about Rashee Rice, and I'm not going to ask you to, talk about a man in particular, but, Rashee Rice has some issues right now on and off the field with injuries and with the law. Xavier Worthy's had some injury concerns as well. There's a lot of questions at that position in particular. I want to get your feedback, though, because I think that there are young guys on this roster at that position that could have some promise, and ironically, a guy in particular has a very similar path to what you had as an undrafted player who's not, 21 or 22 years old when they're going to get their first opportunity. It's Jeff Caldwell.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Caldwell's going to be, I think he's going to be 24 when the season starts, or he just is 23 right now. And he's an undrafted free agent the Chiefs signed, and this guy's got a lot of potential. He's got a lot of talent. And I think there is a chance, because we see these stories all the time, in particular yours, where guys get opportunities that no one else wanted to really give an opportunity to, and they play a big role in a team that's trying to ascend or get back to ascension. And I want to get your thoughts, man. Like, what advice would you give these young wide receivers on this roster right now about how to lock in, what to do right, and how to contribute to a team that's trying to get back to Super Bowl prowess?
Man, the first thing first, man, don't even look at social media. Don't even worry about no social media. Don't worry about no tweets. Don't worry about what's going on in the media. You don't even have no social media on your phone. That's the first thing I say. Second off, man, you got to get with the quarterback, get with your position coach. And I mean, take notes. I mean, even if it's 15 minutes before practice, 15 minutes after practice, 4 days out of the week? What else? 30? That's like 2.5 hours. That's on top of the meeting work. And the walkthroughs. Walkthroughs gonna be the biggest thing to me. I feel like just make sure you're doing some walkthrough. Even if you get with a quarterback, the rookie quarterback. I mean, walk through every play, all the plays that y'all gonna run in the week. Walk through them. Even if you're the ones that you think you're comfortable with, walk through it. It's just repetition. All the reps you can get, no matter if it's mental or physical, repetition. As you walk into the cafeteria to go to get food, say a play in your head. Say the X have this, the zebra have this, the Z have this, the Y have this, and what you're supposed to do if you got to convert. You know what I mean? Know all that. You got to understand it in and out. Even when you think you know it, still go over it. Game situation. That's gonna be a big thing. Understand the game situation. And be prepared to work. I mean work. Hydrate. Hydrate. Make sure you're eating right. Make sure you're getting enough sleep. Make sure you get enough rest. And the biggest thing is get with the quarterbacks. I mean, with all of them, every single last one of them, work with them. If they free, hey man, if you need me to throw extra, you need me to run extra routes, throw it with them. And that's not just you being like you sucking up to them. No, that's because you want to get better. You want to be able to work with all of them. I will work with anybody. I will work with a running back if he finna throw the ball. It doesn't even matter. Hey, I used to work with the tight ends.
Yeah.
Coach, hey man, how I supposed to block on this play? Make sure you doing the L. Like that's type of stuff I used to do. I used to go down there and get an old lineman. Hey Wiley, what we finna do, Wiley? Let's get it in. And Wiley used to teach me how to you know what I mean? Because I didn't want to lose my battle, no
Yeah.
matter where I was at. And that's something they should take in consideration. Don't take no losses, don't take no plays off. Touch somebody. I mean, touch somebody. I don't care if the ball all the way downfield. Go touch somebody. Touch another jersey that's not yours. Like work. I mean work. And listen to Coach EB. Don't be scared of that work. You should have loved. You should have loved that. You should have loved that. That type of stuff that I love. When you hear him saying family feast, let's just go ahead and get it. I used to laugh, but man, let's go ahead and get it and work. That'll be my advice to him, man. Just
Love it,
don't take
man.
no plays off, man. And make sure you get in that playbook. I mean, stay in that playbook and make sure you hydrate and make sure you taking care of your body. That's the main important thing.
All right. Well, let's look at a series of Byron Pringle highlights real quickly, just so people can remember the great Byron Pringle.
Gonna spin around. Bills are there. End zone. And Pringle is there. What a catch. Touchdown, Kansas City.
What a shock, Pringle, right? He just keeps showing up. First downs and touchdowns.
Four-man rush, pump fake to the end zone. Caught! Byron Pringle.
Really pretty play by Pringle here. Watch him take his time at the top of this route. Really set up that little slant move, and Joe Hayden reacted a little too much.
From the 16, first down. It's Pringle. Takes off one time. Oh, lowers the head and gets to the end zone for a touchdown. The Steelers are just sleepwalking through this one.
Unbelievable. Watch the strike. Excuse me. No. Goodbye. Thank you.
Second and 4. Over the middle. Open here. Pringle. Byron Pringle outraces everybody. Touchdown.
Patrick says, I'm not even going to look over there. Heck with that. I'm just going to take this guy who has nobody anywhere close to him. And there goes Pringle for the touchdown. So tonight, Pringle has a touchdown.
Mahomes flushed out again all the way back. Turning the corner. Fires downfield. Caught. Touchdown. Only Mahomes. Byron Pringle.
Byron, real quick, man, those are some amazing highlights. I was at the game in 2019, and so was Lance, where you caught your first NFL touchdown on Sunday Night Football against the Colts. You stood up and you immediately had your dance. I mean, usually some of these kids, I've been watching football since 1977. Yes, I'm 56 years old. Usually when somebody scores their first touchdown, they're just happy and they spike it. You caught it and you knew you were going to get up and dance. How did you have that plan before you made that catch? What dance you were going to do?
That was the plan for anybody on the offense. Whoever scored first, we had to do the Macarena. That was.
Hell yeah, man.
So like anytime before we go, anytime we get in the huddle, everybody come up with a dance of the week, and we'll be like, hey, we'll do this, we'll do that. And that was the dance was the Macarena.
Hey, man, real quick also, that double move you put on Joe Hayden, I mean, that dude should have sent you a lawsuit for that, dude, because what you did to that man was disrespectful as hell. You had multiple moves in that game, dude, that looked like, I mean, I don't want to make comparisons, but I'm just saying, dude, like you put yourself on the map on those two. I specifically remember where I was when you did those two moves. I'm like, how was Byron not getting more opportunities? I remember Shaggy and I would be talking about it because obviously Shaggy would always be singing your praises. But those moves you did in those games, dude, I was beside myself, man. I mean, hats off to those moves because Joe Hayden, you knew that man was a dog. So
yeah,
you do that to that man, like, dude, hey. My hat, I tip the cap, my friend.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I truly do.
Okay, just real quick, the comments we've had. Chiefs 65 Toss Power 118 says, let's effing go. Red Tribe Cinema says, let's effing go. Tara Williams says, let's effing go. I want to get this. Kevin Capel said, Byron, I was at the game in Detroit and remember your outstanding catch on the final drive and still can't believe you got hit double time, bounced off, got it, and got almost scored. I remember that. I remember thinking, oh, don't fumble, and I hope it's really Did that come close to take cutting off losing some oxygen?
No. I love that play too. That was one of my favorite plays.
Yeah, that was a game-winning drive.
I was trying to get it. But I was a little too short.
And Tell him Wayne says Byron Pringle's the real definition of a great player to have on the team. Amen to that. Thank you, Tell him. And he says he comes back and says real dog for real, Byron Pringle. Byron, I can't thank you enough. Is there anything you want to say in closing? Let me ask one more
Man,
question.
I want to thank the Chiefs Kingdom and you, Shaggy and Lance, man, for having this opportunity to speak about the game, man, and my time in Kansas City. I really love the opportunity to play there, and I definitely love the fans from Kansas City all the way to from Kansas State.
Amen. And we'd love to have you back on the show sometime later on in the regular season.
I'm gonna be down there I'm gonna have to get my kids down there for a couple of them games this year, man, because you got my boy Justin Fields over there as well.
Heck yeah, you played with them in Chicago when Chicago gave you all that money.
Yeah.
Hey man, Byron, you're real, you're true, you're a friend. We've been talking for a long time, privately or through Messenger. I can't thank you enough. Lance can't thank you enough. Appreciate your time, and until next time, have continued success with your amazing family. I know you got your boys, your sons out there working out. You got
I got to keep them working, man. I got to keep them working, keep them busy, especially this summer, man.
Stay safe out in the Gulf waters. I know the Gulf can be
it can change on you. It can definitely change. I only stay in the 3 feet range. The water 3 feet.
Smart man.
All right. Until next time, Byron, thank you. Take care and God bless, buddy.
All right. God bless y'all as well. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely, man. That's awesome.
That is the great Byron Pringle. Lance, what do you have to say about the great Byron Pringle after that awesome interview?
I won't lie, man. I had high expectations for the conversation. That's the first time Byron and I have ever, exchanged words. And just from the jump, man, I got good vibes from the guy. He seems to be a very happy individual, and I'm sure he's very happy with his NFL career because, as we both know, man, it's a microscopic amount of the population that get the chance to play at the NFL level. And Byron did it, and he did it and played in big. He played big in big moments, man, as we saw in those highlights. Humble dude, and it'd be criminal of us if we didn't have him back on the show at some point, man, because he's definitely a guy that I love to pick the brain of, man. I hope Byron will be back soon, man. So shout out to Byron, shout out to his family, and I can't thank him enough for taking the time to be with us tonight, man.
Amen to that. Great guy. Love Byron, man. He was always a special player, and he was, you always cheer for the underdogs. Like, if the Chiefs ever get a number one draft pick, if they ever draft a number one draft pick, or when you think of the guys that, let's go back to March of 2018, free agency starts. Brett Veach immediately makes Sammy Watkins the third highest wide receiver in the NFL. So you think the spotlight and the favoritism is going to be him. But, Lance, when we go to training camp, we're always like, who are the rookie undrafted free agents that got a chance to make this team? And it's a shame that Byron Pringle got hurt right before his last preseason game. He was on his way to make the team. And like you said, he had that sports hernia, and he got hurt along with the hamstring. But like he said, he used that time off to his advantage. Travis Kelce didn't play his rookie season because in the final preseason game, he sustained that injury and he sat out his rookie season. So Travis Kelce, Byron Pringle, even Demarcus Robinson, he had 0 targets, which I'm going to coincide to, what we're going to get to with Cyrus Allen and these other kids who are going to be rookies. Demarcus Robinson was a 4th round draft pick who, had 0 targets his rookie season in 2016. Everybody's saying, is Jalen Royals going to be a bust? I don't know about Jalen Royals. Jalen Royals going to do this? And we can go to, let's move ahead to the Chiefs where we currently stand, Lance. When you see people talk about the criticism of Jalen Royals, I'm the only one saying it. I'm the only one saying, doesn't anybody remember when Demarcus Robinson had 0 targets as a rookie? Why is it you feel that that people are so underwhelmed with the potential of Jalen Royals, and they talk about his rookie season? How would you feel about that assessment, Lance?
Well, I think there's a fair point to be had in the fact that when you have a team like the Chiefs last season in particular, well, honestly, for the last couple of years where they've had subpar play at wide receiver, the opportunities are going to be there for guys to make a name. And when they don't, I think fans are naturally frustrated because, fans are fans. They're going to, whenever the Chiefs draft a player, that automatically, no matter where they're drafted, whether it's a day 1, day 2, or day 3 pick, there's expectations. And like I said, it's even more emphasized when the Chiefs have a lackluster wide receiver room, and Jalen Rose was hyped up all the way through training camp into preseason, and people had expectations. I, for one, didn't. And it's not because I don't think Jalen Rose can't be a good football player. It's because of what I just talked to Byron about, and the fact that Andy Reid's got a way about how he handles rookie receivers. He does not utilize them. I mean, it's a proven fact. Outside of a few exceptions where, Tyreek Hill, who, by the way, was more of a special teams player in his first season, and a couple guys back in his Philly days, you don't see a lot of rookie receivers really make big impact, especially early in their rookie season, because Andy Reid trusts veterans and lets the young guys develop. So I see it both ways, where I understand the frustration because in an inept wide receiver room, Jalen did literally nothing. But he's also a rookie, so I'm willing to give him that opportunity to prove himself in year 2, and that's where he's at now. So the excuses, I don't even know if there really is any for Byron. I think there's just more of reasons. The
Jalen.
Reasons, I'm sorry, Jalen. Yes, thank you. I said Byron, but yes, the reasons for Jalen are no longer valid for him not being a piece of the puzzle. I'm not expecting him to become a star player by any means, but he needs to be a guy that can go out there and make an impact play here and there. When the Chiefs, like Byron was talking about, you want to make sure that you capitalize on your opportunities. That's what I'm asking from Jalen Rose, who is a mid-round pick, a guy that's not expected to ever become a star player in this league. Would it be great if he did? Absolutely. I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting him to become a guy who's just an asset, somebody who can be a net positive for this offense, for special teams, whatever role they put him in. I just want to see that from him. So hopefully Chiefs fans and people will give him that opportunity in year 2, possibly year 3, if he cements himself as a real asset on this roster.
Well, let's get to John Harrison's comment. Having a legitimate wide receiver coach should upgrade the play of all wide receivers. With that, Lance, let's look at the coaching staff on the Kansas City Chiefs. We got Eric Bieniemy back. The pass game coordinator is Joe Blemire and the quarterback coach David Girardi. Still Andy Hex, the offensive line coach. When you look at this coaching staff, Lance, I know we've touched on Eric Bieniemy earlier in the spring. When you look at new running back coach DeMarco Murray and you look at new wide receiver coach Chad O'Shea, I love the fact that we got a brand new wide receiver coach, and hopefully he has some fire. We know the local media had a chance to only spend one day of OTAs with him last week. I think they're going to be with him this Wednesday. I'm liking what I'm hearing out of Chad O'Shea. What do you think about the new wide receiver coach as well as the new running back coach DeMarco Murray?
So when it comes to position coaches, I'm always somebody who's hesitant to attach, and I know this sounds unfair, but I'm hesitant to attach the success or the failures directly to those position coaches, because at the end of the day, it really does come down to the players and the guys that are running the offense and or defense. And I'm talking in particular, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, guys like that. Those are the ones that steer the ship. Do I expect these guys like O'Shea to be upgrades? Sure. I think that because of O'Shea's experience and the fact that he has a reputation to help elevate guys' play, I am excited about that. But there's always, no matter how good of a coach you are, you still have to have the players that can go out there and execute the plays you're drawing up. And that's the give and take with having a real football team, a team that can go out there and win Super Bowls like the Chiefs have before. Because as good of a coach as Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo are, they still had to have Chris Jones and Travis Kelce and guys like that go out there and execute and make these types of plays. And what my concern is when it comes to guys like O'Shea and guys like this that are coming in to help elevate this offense is, do they have the pieces to elevate the said offense? The biggest concern or worry that a lot of Chiefs fans had this offseason was, what are they going to do at wide receiver? And as we know, the Chiefs have essentially sat on their hands at that position this offseason. Now, people could say, well, it's because Rashee Rice. They have a lot of belief in him. They think that he's going to lock in and get things right, and maybe they have long-term goals with him, and they're going to sign him to a long-term deal after this offseason. And then we see him fall back, 5 steps again off the field and do things that are just detrimental to himself and the team, and it makes you really lose faith in that. Xavier Worthy, going into year 3, has not shown anything close to a first-round pick, let alone a guy they traded up for in the first round. dealing with injuries, being an undersized player, which is something that always concerns me. These are supposed to be the head of your stable. These are supposed to be your horses. And right now, I think there are far more questions than there are answers at the wide receiver position. So I almost feel like I have to have a built-in out for guys like O'Shea, because although I have faith and confidence, they're going to bring diligence to the room. They're going to bring integrity to the room. They're going to bring character to the room, professionalism to the room. Do they have the horses to execute the offense the way that they see fit and the way that they've been known to do? That's where my concern really lies here, Shaggy. So I don't want to avoid the question. I feel like the responsibility doesn't really rely on these guys that are coming in here trying to elevate when they may not have the pieces to elevate that room.
Okay. I think particularly specifically to Xavier Worthy, I think DeAndre Hopkins really helped him when he was traded here in late October of 2024. He attributed a lot of his expeditious growth, his rookie season, to DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins didn't have a good Super Bowl. And honestly, he didn't get as many snaps as Juju Smith-Schuster did in that playoff run that the Chiefs became AFC champions. But I would like the Chiefs to bring back, if for a veteran presence, just bring back DeAndre Hopkins just to be a coach, or just, be a wide receiver, obviously, but just to add that veteran depth, that veteran presence. DeAndre Hopkins didn't play with Rashee Rice because Rashee Rice was on injured reserve with a knee injury. I feel like if you add a veteran presence like DeAndre Hopkins, it'll help the room. Just help the room, because you saw the wide receiver room struggle last year. I know a lot of people don't care about what local media, how they feel about these players after a game, but there were some games last year where Rashee Rice dropped some crucial catches, and the media went in to talk to these players, and rather than Rashee Rice hold himself accountable, him and Xavier Worthy would smile and laugh and leave the locker room. Hearing that from the local media, it bugs me that, hey, Rashee Rice didn't want to talk. He just smiled and left. It shows me, when I hear that alone, that he's not taking the game serious. And I feel like Xavier Worthy's influence, or the influence DeAndre Hopkins had over Xavier Worthy, was extremely helpful. And I feel like he could add that presence of maturity to that wide receiver room, and maybe, freaking Lord willing, do the same for Rashee Rice. How do you feel about that, Lance?
I mean, look, man, I'm a D-Hop truther. I've been preaching and singing his praises for years. I wanted the Chiefs to go get him in 2023 because that team desperately needed him. Luckily, Mahomes being Mahomes and that defense being elite that season was enough to get them by and get them that Super Bowl victory. But let's be honest, that wide receiver room was an absolute detriment, and I think D-Hop would have been a massive asset, and I think he was a massive asset when he was here. Maybe not statistically, but his knowledge, his experience, and just quite frankly, his candor. Like, D-Hop's vibe is what I've always been intrigued by. He's such a calm, stoic dude, and I think at the wide receiver position, that's such a unique thing to carry within yourself, and I think that rubs off on a lot of guys in a very positive way, especially young guys that are coming into this league, making millions of dollars before they even really, cut their teeth in this league. You got a guy like D-Hop like that, who's a cool, calm, collected dude. I think that's a very positive thing. So I can see that being something that Xavier Worthy could have learned over any of these other guys on this team. So I'm open-minded. If they wanted to bring D-Hop in and do something like that, I'm all for it. I think he'd be more of a mentor than a player at this point. I think he's past the point of being a highly productive player in this league, and that's okay. He's 33 years old. But, Shaggy, to almost answer your question with the question, it's, why do you think the Chiefs handled the wide receiver position they did this offseason? I mean, I didn't want them to take a receiver in the top 10. I also didn't want them to take a cornerback, but I digress. But they didn't take the position seriously at all this offseason. It almost felt like they were almost, I don't want to say ignorant, but it was almost like they were hell-bent on just sticking to what they had, even though what they've had is not enough, even when those guys have been on the field. So I have to ask that question. What was the mentality from your perspective with the Chiefs when it comes to the wide receiver position this offseason? Because it doesn't make any sense to me, man.
I think they believe in Jalen Royals. I think they believe in him. They must, because they didn't address wide receiver in free agency. They didn't address wide receiver early in the draft. They must believe in that room. We're just fans here. We're not in the locker room. We're not with the local media. We are just fans here. But when local media says Rashee Rice is acting this way, it's kind of different than how everybody else we've covered. It speaks volumes. And then when he's getting in trouble continuously off the field, it sounds like they may have made a mistake in putting all their eggs in the Rashee Rice basket. It's obviously they made a mistake. They could spin it in any certain way, shape, or form right now, but putting their eggs in the Rashee Rice basket has been a fault, because he's not going to get his extension, whether how cheap it is, because you have to trust the player off the field to do the right thing. But to answer your question, Lance, they better hope that Jalen Royals is the DeMarcus Robinson, is the Byron Pringle, who didn't play their rookie season, but then blew up their second season. And DeMarcus Robinson's still in the league today. And like I said, quick fix, get some maturity, get some leadership, get somebody who will set the locker room straight in DeAndre Hopkins. Yes, he won't get the snaps that Jalen Royals will get, but he'll be in on enough plays. And the most important thing, he could be a mentor in that locker room. I cannot stress that enough. They need leaders in that locker room. They don't need Rashee Rice being the leader, because he's not setting a good example. All right, Lance, I want to get to two things before we get out of here. First off, you tweeted after the draft, you said, who's going to lead the Chiefs in sacks in 2026? And I, without hesitation, said Ashton Gelati. I was listening to Stephen St. John, the best morning sports talk show host on 810 WHB yesterday morning, and he had on Mr. Pete Sweeney, formerly of Arrowhead Pride, now a Kansas City Star. Stephen St. John asked Pete Sweeney who he thought would lead the Kansas City Chiefs in sacks in 2026, and without hesitation, Pete Sweeney said Ashton Gelati. So I feel good about Ashton Gelati, along with having Peter Woods. We're going to get to these draft picks in a second. I wanted to get your take on that. How do you feel about the second year potential of one Ashton Gelati?
If Ashton Gelati leads the Chiefs in sacks this year, the Chiefs are not going to have a good pass rush.
Oh, come on. Tell me why.
I am an actual. Here's the funny thing. I actually am a big fan of Ashton Gelati. I think Ashton Gelati was a hell of a pick, a third-round pick. A guy who plays very similar to George Karlaftis, a bull rush type of guy, got great genetics. He's a physical specimen. I mean, the dude's got drive. He showed nothing but positive things this year. I had no complaints about Ashton Gelati this year. But Ashton Gelati is a rotational edge rusher. He's not going to be a guy, and I'm sorry, and I know that Pete, doesn't care what I have to say anymore, but I'm going to say it again. I think Pete's 100% wrong about this, and that's just my opinion.
You're saying I'm wrong there too.
No, I'm saying that in the fact that in this scenario of we're hoping that the Chiefs are better, right? We're hoping that the Chiefs have a better edge rush than in 2025 because it was horrible in 2025. If you're relying on a third-round pick to be your lead edge rusher, because like the question I have to ask then is who is going, like how many sacks is he going to have to lead this team? Because in my opinion, as it's currently constructed, if Ashton Gelati gets 7 or 8 sacks this year, I think there's a really good chance he leads the team. Because right now, this edge rush room, and Chris Jones being 32 years old, and Peter Woods being a rookie defensive lineman, interior defensive lineman mostly, they don't have enough around these guys to manufacture a lot of sacks. That's why I was so upset this offseason, Shaggy, because, and I know we're going to get to the draft in a second, but the biggest need on this team, as much as we just talked about the receiver room and how much, how depleted and mediocre it is at best, it's even worse in their edge rush room. I mean, we all like George Karlaftis, but George Karlaftis is not a premier edge rusher by any means. He's a guy that's going to get you 6 to 8 sacks. And again, Ashton Gelati is a third-round pick. Do you know how hard it is to bank on a third-round edge rusher to become a top of the line or a premier edge rusher in this league. There's like Nick Benito, Max Crosby, and like Daniil Hunter. There's like 3, 4, 5 guys tops in the league that are even remotely that good that weren't taken in like the top 10 to 15 in the draft. So it's already against Ashton Gelati to become that dude. So I vehemently just disagree with that. It would be awesome if he does, because the Chiefs are having him at a discount price as a 3rd-round pick, making, pennies on the dollar compared to some of these first-round pick guys or guys they've signed to long-term deals. If he can do that, that's incredible, and I will cheer him on nonstop. But I just don't think there's any realistic scenario that he's going to have enough sacks to where it's, he had this many sacks and the team got better. If he leads the team in sacks, it's because the team is not good at that position. That's just my opinion at this current time, man.
Wow, I'm going to say I hope you're wrong. I really hope you're wrong, because let's get right to the draft real quick before we wrap this bad boy up. Mansour Delane, I was shocked we took him, but I'm going to say this, Lance. You agree, I know you do, that this coaching staff and the scouting department knows when they see a cornerback that they think is going to be good, they'll take them. They never have to take 6th overall, but they thought, man, we can't let this guy get past. We got to take him. They coveted him so much that they traded up 3 spots to get him. That was important. And I'm looking forward to watching Mansour Delane be a shutdown. I know when it first happened, we're like, man, we're just chasing our tail. We just lost Trent McDuffie. Now we're just going to invest a 6th overall pick in a cornerback. It seemed like we were chasing their tail, but we got to give them the benefit of the doubt. If they believe Mansour Delane is that, then I'm going to go with it. Peter Woods, like I said, the defensive tackle, he slipped this year to the 29th overall pick because he had a bad final season at Clemson, but he was projected to go in the top 3 before the season started. They had a new defensive coordinator. They changed the scheme. His play struggled. But, let's look at Chris Jones, Lance. Chris Jones slipped out of the first round in the 2016 draft. He's a Hall of Famer, so we're banking on that. Now, here is the major one, R. Mason Thomas. We're sitting here talking about sacks, about Ashton Gelati leading the team in sacks, what Shaggy Shane and Pete Sweeney thought Ashton Gelati is going to be the guy. Here is where Steve Spagnuolo is changing. This is not, when you look at R. Mason Thomas, he is not a Spagnuolo guy. he's like Uche. He's like D Ford. He's like, wait a minute. First thing we thought of, he doesn't fit Spagnuolo's scheme. We're going against schemes because he doesn't fit. But Spagnuolo, they got to believe, along with the defensive line coach, along with that whole entire defense and the scouting department, they had to get together and say, we believe R. Mason Thomas, the edge rusher, is going to be a guy that can create pass rush regardless of what Spagnuolo's scheme is. Lance, when you look at those 3 picks, be honest with me. How do you feel about him? I like him. I'm optimistic. Of course, I wanted Reuben Bain. We all wanted Reuben Bain, but he's not here. The Chiefs put all their eggs in the Mansour Delane basket. Now that we're 2 months removed practically from this draft, how do you feel about these 3 picks and the changing of the Steve Spagnuolo scheme?
I'm so torn, man. I'm uncertain because you're right. Because I want to start there with R. Mason. I was not expecting this one because there were other edge rushers that I felt fit the scheme more that were still available at the time. I think Cassius Howell was still available. Zion Young, if I'm not mistaken, was still available.
He was.
Those were guys that I think fit the mold better for Steve Spagnuolo's offense or defense, so I wasn't expecting R. Mason Thomas to be the guy. I will say that I love the fact that the Chiefs finally got themselves a speed rusher because they haven't had one of those guys in some time. He does get a lot of D Ford comparisons, and that isn't exciting to hear when it comes to what D Ford was here in Kansas City, but I'd imagine that they're talking about the positive sides of things, being more of a faster, elusive style of edge rusher, which this team does need. But a lot to the point of the Ashton Gelati conversation we were just having is the same I'll have with R. Mason Thomas. R. Mason Thomas is not only a rookie, he's a second-round rookie. And again, if you look across the league, man, it is really, really difficult to expect second-round rookie edge rushers or guys that are after the first round to become guys immediately, sometimes ever. And that's where I'm going to be cautiously optimistic about R. Mason Thomas. Furthermore, you and I both know that anything and everything that happens on both sides of the ball this year comes down to 2 guys, Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo. What do we know about these two men? They are highly successful at what they've been doing for the majority of their careers, almost unprecedentedly successful, but they're also stubborn as hell. And the thing, you brought up another name. You brought up Uche. That's very interesting you brought that up. Because Uche was the type of guy this Chiefs defense needed when they went and got him. And I believe they gave up a 5th or 6th round pick to get him.
6th.
And they never used him. Why? Because from what we were getting from every single reporter out there and beat writer and all these other guys was that he didn't fit the scheme. So my question is Spags going to finally change? Is he going to finally say, hey, you know what? I didn't use Uche. D Ford was a bust. And then into the defense, I think D Ford was drafted before Spags was here.
He was.
Yeah, he was. So it's going to be interesting to see what Spags is willing to do and how much of an adjustment he's willing to make this far into his career. A lot like Andy Reid with the Kenneth Walker signing, spending so much money at running back for the first time really ever here in Kansas City. Is Andy going to change his offense? Like, there's so many questions I have about that. That's why I'm kind of torn on this, because on the naked eye, these guys could play a real role, but are these coaches going to stick to their guns and just be foolish and say, nah, we're going to let these young guys just kind of ride it out and, best of luck to them in 2027? Or are they really going to start implementing these guys into their schemes? That's the question I have. Now, when it comes to Peter Woods, I absolutely love this pick. Every single mock draft I did, you can ask anybody in the Spoken on Facebook and on Twitter, I consistently mocked Peter Woods to the Chiefs at 29 when I didn't trade out of that pick. I am a big, massive fan of Peter Woods. I think this dude is a real dog in this league. I think he can be an absolute asset to this defense at a high level. I'm not sitting here saying this dude's going to become, Warren Sapp or, Dwight Freeney or any of these other big names you can throw out there, because just stylistically that doesn't make sense. But I think this is a dude that could be a day one impact type of player, because he has already the physicality to him. He's an experienced player as well. He's a guy that, even though he's still younger, I think he's only 21 right now, he is a guy that played a ton at Clemson, and he played at a high level at Clemson. And we know one thing about Clemson, they pump out NFL talent. And I think Peter Woods is going to be a day one starter in this defense. He's a 3-tech guy. He's a dude that can do all types of things, play defensive end, defensive tackle. He could be a dude that finally alleviates that pressure off Chris Jones, something that we haven't had here in Kansas City for many years, where Chris Jones, not everything was falling on him. Peter Woods is the type of guy that can do that. The issue, however, is once again, he is a rookie, so he's going to have to, learn his way into this league, even though I think he'll be on a faster track. And 2, I don't think he's going to be a big sack guy. I think he's a guy that's going to stuff the run. I think he's a guy that's going to get pressures. I think with his big body and things like that, he's going to be a disruptor in the passing lanes as well. He can get those big mitts up there and do those things. I just don't think he's going to be a big sack guy, which is why I'm still concerned, because here we are talking about 2 guys that are going to be playing on the defensive line, and Mason Thomas and Peter Woods, and I'm still uncertain about what they're actually going to do from a sack perspective, because the Chiefs sucked at getting sacks last year, especially from the edge rush position. And look, man, you can ask Clay Windler from Red Tribe Cinema. You can ask my brother Trevor Twidwell, who's co-hosted with me at The Spoken for years. I absolutely, when I heard Mansour Delane's name, I folded like a beach towel. And listen, I know everybody's going to think, oh, Lance, you're just being negative, bro. This is your style. This is your way. Guys, I promise you that I think, and I mean this when I say this, I really do believe Mansour Delane's going to be an absolute stud in this league. I really think he's going to be a shutdown corner. I think this dude has a chance to be one of the 5 best corners in this league, and I sincerely mean that. I really, really do. But who gives a shit? And I know that sounds wild, but hear me out. Just hear me out for a second. Because everything centers around the biggest need on this team in its totality. The Chiefs had to get edge rush, and they trade up 3 spots into the top 10 to get a guy at a position that they have successfully stuck the landing in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th rounds since Brett Veach has been here. So already that is a red flag for me. Second of all, if the sack numbers don't go up and the edge rush room does not improve from 2025 to 2026, it doesn't matter if Mansour Delane becomes the next Darrelle Revis. He's going to have to learn how to guard guys for 6+ seconds, because if nobody's getting in the backfield, it doesn't matter how much of a lockdown corner he is. Guys are going to get open. And that is the problem this team had last year, because just last year, the Chiefs had Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson, and it didn't matter because they had the worst third down defense in the league because no one could get to the freaking quarterback, which is why I will die on the hill that the Chiefs made a mistake in this pick. And furthermore, Shaggy, you know this even better than I do. It's something I have been preaching, why I've been telling you guys for 2 years now, that the Chiefs are going to trade Trent McDuffie was for one reason and one reason only. Because the Chiefs don't pay cornerbacks. So when you have a top 10 pick, something that is a golden opportunity in the Mahomes era, an unforeseen, unprecedented situation where you get a top 10 pick in the Mahomes era, you better go get a guy that is what? A building block player at a premium position. Is that what the Chiefs just did? No. Because they just drafted a guy at a position. And not only did they draft well all throughout the draft and go get UDFAs and trade backup centers like Parker Angriger for guys like Charvarius Ward, who played a real role in this defense, they went and got a guy like that is not going to get a second contract here. Because that's not what the Chiefs do. And everybody talks about, well, it makes sense now that I think about it, Lance, they didn't pay Trent McDuffie because look at that contract the Rams gave him, $31 million a year. Get the hell out of here. The Chiefs would have never done that. I'm glad they didn't. What do you think the cap structure is going to be in 4 years when Mansour Delane's up for a contract? Do you think it's going to sit at 31? If he ends up being the lockdown corner we all expect him to be, which I expect him to be, do you really think it's only going to be sitting at 31? No, it's going to be sitting at 35, 36, $37 million a year. Do you think that if Brett Veach is still here, that's going to happen? Because it's not. So the Chiefs did not draft a building block player for the next 5 to 10 years. And that's why I'm pissed about this pick. It's not because I don't think the player is good. It's not because I don't think the player can be great. It's the fact that it missed the mark of what the Chiefs needed most. And that is why I'm concerned for this season and for seasons to come, because I think they had a golden opportunity here. Because more than likely, this is going to be the only time the Chiefs get a top 10 pick unless they trade way the hell up to get one in the Mahomes era. And I think they swung and missed on this one out of desperation for whatever reason. You trade Trent McDuffie to go and draft Trent McDuffie. It doesn't make sense, man. I don't understand it. I'm going to die on the hill forever. The Chiefs should have taken Reuben Bain. I understand Arvell Reese and David Bailey were taken before they can get to those guys. I can understand that. I can live with that. And if Reuben Bain was taken ahead of them as well, I can live with it. But Reuben Bain was literally sitting there, man. And I don't want to hear about the short arms thing, because if you look at Peter Woods, if you look at R. Mason Thomas, if you look at Mansour Delane, guess what? They all have short arms in comparison to the guys around them, their peers. So I don't want to hear the short arms argument. I'm telling you right now, the Chiefs screwed up on this one. The Buccaneers absolutely benefited off of getting Reuben Bain to fall in their lap at 15. And Buccaneers fans, congratulations, because you guys got the next dog at edge rush. The Chiefs should have taken him.
Wow. Much respect, Lance. I hope and pray you're wrong. You did your due diligence as usual. I will say this about Mansour Delane. If Mansour Delane reaches the potential that Brett Veach expects, he will be extended. If he exceeds the level of what Brett Veach expected, then I will listen to what insane trade offer another team will give us in 4 years. Think about that, Lance. You don't draft 6th overall, regardless of the cornerback. You sit here and say the Chiefs don't pay cornerbacks, and up till now they haven't. But when you had a top 9 overall pick and you traded up to number 6 overall, the first cornerback taken off the freaking board, that guy, if he reaches the expectation you had for him when you drafted him 6th overall, you extend him even if it hurts the cap. He's that guy, and he reached expectations. Now, again, you may think, hey, that doesn't make sense. If he exceeds the expectations, why do you think about trading him? Because somebody's going to give up a lot. So if somebody wants to offer the Chiefs in 4 years, in 2030, when they're getting ready to go into Lance's backyard and play at the new Arrowhead Stadium, which won't be as good as the Arrowhead Stadium on my side. No, seriously. But if they freaking if somebody wants to give the Chiefs 2 1s for Mansour Delane, we'll open up this in 2030. But I think if he's legit, you have to extend him, because top 10 picks you keep regardless of what position. And he was top 6. All right, we both touched on that. Let's get real quick here. Jadon Kennedy, the defensive back in the 4th round. Emmett Johnson, 5th round. Cyrus Allen with the 2nd, 5th round pick. And Garrett Nussmeier, I like Kennedy because he seems like that guy. He seems like a L'Jarius Sneed pick that Brett Veach grabbed 4 years ago in the 4th round. He seems like one of those late picks, like a Jalen Watson or a Joshua Williams. My favorite's Emmett Johnson. And this is going to go back. I touched on the Chiefs changing their defensive schemes because they're going to go with R. Mason Thomas as a pass rusher who doesn't fit Spag's scheme. I think the Chiefs are going to change their offense this year. They're going to be more run-oriented. Now, I know people might be saying, hold on, Shaggy. This is Andy Reid. He's going to be throwing the football all over the place. I don't care. Patrick Mahomes is on one leg. No. The biggest gripe we had last year, Lance, on our show, our first year, was I kept saying, Patrick Mahomes has got to get under center. He's going to get hurt. I promise I wasn't trying to be a barrel of bad news like the late, great Donnie Baker used to say. He said, a barrel of bad news, inside joke. But I wasn't trying to be a barrel of bad news, worrying about Patrick Mahomes running for his life. I think the Chiefs finally get it. I think Kenneth Walker even said all spring, he said, I run better when I've historically ran better. He wasn't denying it or trying to deny the question. He says he runs better when the quarterback is under center. Emmett Johnson, I believe he would run better with Patrick Mahomes under center. I think we're going to see a slight change. I think we're going to see Mahomes under center more often this year than last year because he's getting over the ACL, the MCL. I think we're going to see Kenneth Walker, who the Chiefs invested all their cash into this offseason, the freaking Super Bowl MVP. We got the Super Bowl MVP. And last year's Super Bowl MVP, we got Mahomes. I mean, dude, this is freaking something to be stoked about. I'm thrilled about the Chiefs having Kenneth Walker. I'm thrilled about knowing Patrick Mahomes is going to be under center, taking advantage of his interior offensive line, Crean Humphrey, Trey Smith, Awesome Waga. I can't think of his name. What's his name? Talk to me. Say it, Lance, real quick.
You got me beat, man.
No, the guy, the tackle that moved to left guard.
Oh, you're talking about Kingsley Suamataia.
Kingsley Suamataia. I love these guys. I love the interior line. I love thinking about the freaking Patrick Mahomes under center. Turns hands to Kenneth Walker. He picks up 3. It's 2nd and 7. Next play, handoff. Kenneth Walker, he picks up 2. It's 3rd and 5. Now it's 3rd and 5. Patrick Mahomes under center. Play action. Dump off pass to Emmett Johnson. He picks up 7. Move the chains. We don't need, oh, man, did you see that 80-yard pass to Xavier Worthy because Mahomes was running for his life and then chucked it? We're going to see an offensive change in the Chiefs with their draft on offense and defense. Let's put it out here now. I think we will see the Chiefs change on offensive defense because what they invested in Kenneth Walker and how they drafted. Would you agree with me, Lance, that we are going to see a hell of a lot more of Patrick Mahomes under center and a hell of a lot more Kenneth Walker up the gut?
Shaggy, I want nothing more than for you to be right now because that's exactly what this team has to be in 2026 if they want to even get to the playoffs, because this team is not designed nor built to play the way that they have played from 2018 to 2022. Stylistically, it just doesn't make sense to try to air raid with this roster. I mean, you're talking about a team that's going to be really heavily, once again, relying on an aging and old tight end. Travis Kelce's going to 100% get over 100 targets this year because they just simply don't have the weapons to throw to. And not to mention the fact that Patrick is coming off a serious knee injury with 2 ligament tears. I've been saying for a couple of years now that I think Patrick needs to start being a little more conscientious of his mobility and saving it for big moments and big times. Last year he ran way too much, far too often, almost led the team in rushing at some points. I think he had 40 less rushing yards than Isaiah Pacheco on 40 some odd fewer rushes. That's insane, but that's to be expected with Pacheco playing the way he was, running into his offensive linemen's butts. Yeah, they better do that. And I think he needs to mold his game after guys like Matt Stafford that has like absolute gun, plays more in the pocket, and when it's absolutely necessary, he'll get out of the pocket and make plays with his feet. Patrick's a better athlete than Matt Stafford, but that's the type of guy he needs to start playing like if he wants to play at 38, 39 years old like Stafford is, who just won MVP, by the way. Yeah, they're. I want you to be right more than anything, Shaggy, because that's the only chance this team has in 2026. The problem though is that I am legitimately concerned because of some of the decisions the Chiefs have made this offseason. They've played it insanely safe. Instead of going and getting a guy that gives you fresh perspective on your offense at the OC position, they went back to the guy they used to have in yesteryear in the same area I just talked about from 2018 to 2022. Now I know you guys were telling me, hold on, Lance. Eric Bieniemy knows the running back position. Very true. And I think the Eric Bieniemy is going to help the, Kenneth Walker transition into a new offense and, help build this offense up and help the play action and things of that nature. But once again, is Andy Reid going to actually lean into that? Because we all know who really runs this offense. It's Andy Reid. Eric Bieniemy is here because he has a relationship with Andy Reid. He's not here because he's going to actually be the guy running this offense. It's going to be Andy Reid. We all know this. So is Andy Reid going to get out of his own way? That's the question I have here, because I'm going to be honest with you, Shaggy. Andy Reid better get out of his own way. I'm not saying Clark Hunt's ever going to make any brass decisions here, but if the Chiefs don't make the playoffs in 2026, Andy Reid needs to retire. Because that means that Andy Reid has been passed up by the game. It is inexcusable to have prime Patrick Mahomes and you miss the playoffs in back-to-back seasons. That cannot happen. Now, I know they've had unprecedented success leading into 2025. That is not relevant to the conversation we're having now. We could sit here when Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and all these guys are done and retired. We could sit here and reminisce on the good times. This team is supposed to be in contention now because Patrick Mahomes is still the best quarterback in the league. So there is no excuse for that. So Andy Reid's got a lot of pressure on him right now. Again, I'm not saying Clark Hunt's going to fire him, but I think that there needs to be a conversation if Andy Reid can't get this team back into the playoffs and have a deep run once again. The only way that's going to happen is if these coaches that have been here for a long time now look themselves in the mirror and decide we either do things our way or we do things the right way, because 2025 was an ultimate representation of doing things your own way and it blowing up in your face. They wanted to play the offense the way they always have, and they did not build that offense that way. Well, it's the same thing in 2026. They didn't go out and get a dog at wide receiver. They didn't do a bunch of things to bolster this offense. They did get Kenneth Walker, and that's the ironic part. Are you a guy that's making the second highest contract in the NFL amongst all running backs? Are you going to actually utilize them the way you need to? Not the way you want to, the way you need to. Because I know what Andy wants to do. He wants to throw the ball 55 freaking times a game.
I don't know.
And that cannot happen. That cannot happen, man. So to answer your question the most long-winded way imaginable, I hope you're right. I just don't know if you're going to be right.
Exactly. We haven't seen Andy Reid. What do they say? Tiger doesn't change his stripes.
Yeah.
Or was it elephant doesn't change his nose?
No, you're right. Tigers don't change, leopard don't change his spots. Whatever you want to say, man, it's true.
But he obviously has to, because it looks like it. It looks like Spagnuolo is going to go to a different kind of pass rusher, and it looks. I mean, obviously, I'm still going to stick with Ashton Gelati. It'd be awesome if he was a stud. Hey, Jared Allen was a 4th-round draft pick out of Oregon who was supposed to come here and challenge Kendall Gammon for the long snapping position and be a backup defensive end. He came out of nowhere. Am I comparing Ashton Gelati to Jared Allen? It may seem like it, but I'm not going to do it. But if he can be half of what Jared Allen was, then damn it, I'll be happy. Lance, this has been an amazing show. We went really long because we had to touch on a lot. You know, I love you like a brother. We disagree on some things. I think I'm more optimistic, but I respect your knowledge on how you feel. I think I'm willing to go for Jalen Royals being the guy. Like I said, I've seen it happen with Byron Pringle, Demarcus Robinson. These guys blew up their second year. Granted, Byron Pringle was on injured reserve his rookie season, and Demarcus Robinson was only on special teams. So let's see how Jalen Royals does in OTAs as well as next month. And as John Harrison, my man, he comes in here. Zebra doesn't change the stripes. What would we be without John Harrison? First
dude, you're
off,
telling me, man, this guy fact checks me every time I'm on air, so I'm okay with it, dude. I'm not.
I love John Harrison. Chiefs Kingdom, if we don't have John Harrison, if he retires from talking to us on social media, he'd be missed. John Harrison, I love you, brother.
Yep.
We appreciate your knowledge. We appreciate everything you bring to social media on I'm just speaking for us, but every time I see John Harrison on some Chiefs podcast, he's dropping facts and stats, and we appreciate you, John. Lance, anything you want to say in closing about talking about the Chiefs and our guest, Byron Pringle?
Yeah, man. Again, shout out to Byron Pringle. Thank you so much for taking the time, man. It's great to now call you a friend and a friend of the show. We'd love to have him back, and I wish him nothing but success both in life and in fishing. So I hope he catches a bunch of fish out there in Florida. Um, Shaggy, you said it. We definitely, can see things differently, but we both have the same desire and same goal in mind, man. We want to see this team get back to Super Bowl prominence. We want to see this team have success again. We both can agree to that. So even though we all might see things differently, that's the beautiful thing about having opinions, man, is we all bring them up and we all get to talk about them. We all see where everyone's at, and that's the beautiful thing about it, man. So we all have the same desire and same goals in mind, and that is to see this team do what we know they can do, but will they do it? That's the question we all got to pay attention to. And last of all, man, Shag, I love you, bro, and this is always a blast. There's never been a single time you and I have been on a live stream together where it wasn't an absolute awesome time, dude. So I love you as well, just like you do me, man. And to everybody that's watching, everybody that tunes in, the support I get. I mean, I met this weekend, I met a guy, Clear the Air with E. A fan of the Spoken podcast. I know he watched this show as well. Gave me, came up and shook my hand. That stuff means a lot to me, man. You guys actually care about what we have to say, and the fact that we play a role in your life in any regard. That means the world to me, man. So I'm humbled by that. I'm humbled by all you guys that want to be a part of this, that chime in, tune in, and I hope you guys want to continue to do that with us as the football season gets here, man. We're less than 100 days away, Shaggy. That's a great thing, man. It's exciting that the football season's getting closer and closer. So we're gonna be here before we know it, man. And I'm really looking forward to talking Chiefs football with you and everybody here, man, that tunes in with us. So love you guys, love you, Shaggy, and thank you guys all for being here with us today.
Amen to that. Again, thank you to my friend, your friend, our friend, Chiefs Kingdom's friend, Byron Pringle. Cyrus Allen will be wearing number 13. He's got to wear that number proudly for Byron Pringle. We will be back, I don't know, maybe next month sometime, maybe before camp. We'll talk about some things. If there's any breaking news that me and Lance and I need to discuss, we will be back on here. Once again, to everybody in the chat, everybody that watched us on Red Tribe Cinema, The Spoken, and Shaggy Shane. Until next time, this is Shaggy Shane along with Lance Twidwell saying, "Go Chiefs!"